Good evening, everybody. It's March 25th. Welcome to our Town of Rhinebeck Town Board meeting. Would everybody please stand for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a couple of announcements. Starting the 2nd of April, taxes are due with a 3% penalty until May 1st, when there will be a 4% penalty, so get your taxes paid. The stream stocking for the annual fish contest will take place on Saturday the 13th at 12:30, so drive carefully in the village of Rhinebeck, and the contest will take place on Sunday. And Saturday the 13th at 10 a.m. at our Thompson Nazarella Park will be our spring Easter egg hunt, so we hope to see you there. Does anybody else have any announcements? Or? Okay. Glad you guys made it. Chauncey is ill this evening. May I have a motion to approve prior minutes?
Make a motion.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Alan. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I will make a motion for Resolution 2019-084 for our budget transfers and amendment. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Ed. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I will make a motion for Resolution 2019-085 for our accounts payable abstracts, 42 checks totaling $88,013.06. May I have a second? Thanks, Alan. Is there any discussion or any questions?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I will make a motion for Resolution 2019-086 for our capital projects abstract. It's one check for $9,406. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ed. Is there any discussion here? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Looking for a motion for Resolution 2019-086 for, 087 for the municipal cooperation agreement with New York Cooperative Liquid Asset Security System, also known as New York Class.
Make that motion.
Thanks, Ed. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Alan. New York Class was started in the early 80s, and it's a self-cooperative liquid asset short-term investment fund designed especially for municipalities. It's very low risk. We can get our money in and out, and we'll make close to 2% as opposed to the 0.25% that we make in a bank. It's very well known, very highly rated. It was started by MBIA, and now it has become its own entity for, I guess, about 12, 13 years ago.
And we've been using it right along.
We have not. This is new for us. The village uses New York Class, and their treasurer, Karen McLaughlin, is on the board. It's, a highly rated liquid asset reciprocal for municipalities.
Actually, it's almost making 2.25%.
It's 2.25% now.
Wow.
For us, it's good. It could be an extra $20,000, $25,000 a year for us, which is, for a small municipality, it's a windfall. Is there any other discussion, any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I want to table 2019-088. It's our Amtrak settlement agreement. If you have been on your emails lately, we need to have a meeting with Warren and Karen Hagstrom. We need an attorney-client meeting because this is to settle the issues with assessment for the Amtrak station, which we have been charging them per New York State ad valorem taxes, which are lighting district and fire district taxes. They claim that they're exempt. We claim they're not. There's a state code for it. Because we keep charging them and they keep not paying, they keep losing title. The county keeps foreclosing on their property, and they haven't had clear title for 25, 30 years, which is part of the reason why they can't go after the state funds for the State of Good Repair and the federal funds necessary for the American Disabilities Act fixes needed at the station. Now, we very much are, working with them and want this to happen, and we have to figure out how to get them exempt from the ad valorem taxes. This is something the town is absolutely willing to do. The taxes maybe come to $1,100 a year, so we'll spread it out over the rest of the taxpayers so that Amtrak can have clear title. That's part one. Part two is getting the county to forgive the $63,000 owed in back taxes and going forward change their status on the Office of Real Property Taxation. So we're working closely with the county, with the county executive, with their attorneys, and with Eric Axelson at ORPS. And this wording isn't quite right. What we've been told is that we either have to have a, I can't remember if it's something done in the state assembly, or we have to pass a local law in order to exempt them. So we need a meeting, attorney-client meeting, in order to figure this out. We are going to go forward with it, but it's not ready, and this as of late Friday. Alan, are you available on the 2nd, Tuesday at 2 p.m.?
Awesome.
Let's see. I know you are.
So Elizabeth, their tax problem is only for the area in Rhinebeck? Or does it threaten the...
No, it's only for the station, the Rhine Cliff station. We have been charging them for
It's the station.
lighting and fire protection. And we're willing not to do that and to spread it out over our town. It's very little in
Right.
order for them to have clear title.
Sure.
Yeah, they're in the Rhine Cliff Fire District. Yeah, I can do 2 o'clock.
Okay, so I want to table this until after that meeting, and hopefully we'll have an epiphany, or so we can work something out, and we'll get it back on the agenda for, is it the 8th, or it's the 8th, I believe. So John, will you just make sure that this is back on our agenda, and we'll probably need a revised settlement agreement. 2 p.m. here in my office. This is not a public meeting because it's attorney-client. Okay, Resolution 2019-089, bid for reconstruction of cemetery wall. May I have a motion, Ed?
Make a motion.
Can I have a second? Thanks. The only question I had was, it recommends going to the low bid, Doyle Contracting, for option B, which is the concrete core with the stone facing, which is only $10,000 more. And I'm fine with this, but do we have all of our funding in place?
Yes, we do. I left a sheet.
Okay, I'm sorry, where is it?
And Susan's here. She can
Well,
tell you.
let me just, so the Frost Foundation has recommitted?
No,
So,
They
I
will.
mean,
but here's the problem. The problem is that the bid will be expired by the time they say yes, which is,
April 15th.
yeah, they have the April 15th or something. I mean, they already gave the money to us last year, I think they're pretty good.
so if they don't give us the money, what are we doing with this? We won't go through with the bid?
I guess not,
No,
yeah,
we won't.
I guess not, yeah. But I don't expect that to happen.
No, we won't.
Okay, so if we approve this, we still have next month to see if this is something we want to come up with funds balance to get done or not. I just think that the resolution's a little iffy because it doesn't say anything in here about funding. We're awarding a bid and we don't have our funding together,
Did we
which
say
is the problem.
contingent on Frost approval?
Well, are we going to get it by the time that we have to award this?
Well, I think
I think April 11th is
Right.
when they said that we might know.
And when do we have to tell them?
15th?
I think he gave us an extension, didn't he?
Yeah, but when did he say that extension was good for us?
Who's he?
The engineer.
That's correct.
Okay, well, I mean, it's in our RFP when we bid that out, so we go out to bid,
Right.
there's a date by
Right.
which we have to
So it's
award.
90 days from that date. Yes, I forget what the day is, I think it was the 12th or something. of
Should we
April.
table this until our next meeting so we can
I think the problem didn't he tell you, you spoke to him
Who's
last?
he?
The engineer.
Okay.
Did the engineer not tell you that the bid was gonna expire by the time of your next meeting, and that's why?
I think so,
Okay.
yes, she said that, but did he get an extension? He gave us the Doyle
You can't get an
lease?
extension if it's in the RFP, the date.
Yeah.
Right.
I just,
If it expires, though, we don't have any bids.
Right.
That's the
can we
problem.
make a motion to revise this resolution to state that this is contingent upon getting the $75,000 from the Frost
That's what I
Foundation?
wanted. So I was hoping that.
Do you want to make a motion for that?
Yes, I did.
That's
Okay.
fine, I think that's
Can I have a second for that
Second.
motion? Hold on. All in favor of the motion to,
Contingency motion.
no, to, yeah, amend the, all in favor of the amendment, aye.
Aye.
John, you got that, it's a whereas that it is contingent upon receiving the 75,000. What is the expiration date for this bid?
I don't remember, but, yeah, I don't remember what it is in the RFP. I think it would be, we went out for bid on, the bids came in on the 12th of January, if I'm remembering correct. I don't remember the date. So
1/11/19.
Yeah, okay, the 11th, yeah. So,
April 11th is the
right,
deadline,
so when's your next meeting?
the 8th.
April 11th is when the Frost Foundation is.
I think the contingency makes more sense.
Okay, well, we passed that
Perfect,
motion.
yeah.
The deadline for the RFP is the 11th. What this allows us to, on the 8th, John, we make just a notation to check in before that meeting in case we have to have it on again to have a bridge loan or fund it a different way. And we should look at that to see if this is something we want to do. We've been trying to get this done,
Yes.
and it's finally a good
We
bid.
had a good bid, yeah. Yeah.
And have you checked all their references?
Well, that's what the engineer
The
did.
engineers know,
It was
of
fully
course,
vetted.
sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have an amended, open resolution on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Thanks, Suzanne.
Thank you.
Let's hope we can get this done.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, just because I don't do this now. Do it.
It doesn't work with.
Doesn't work?
Okay, moving right along here. Resolution 2019-090, awarding, setting a public hearing for our 2019 fire contracts. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Alan. I'll make a second. And we are setting our public hearings to award our fire contracts to Hillside Fire District, Fire Department, and Rhinecliff Fire Department for their portions of the Town Fire Protection District on April 8th at 6 p.m. Is there any other discussion?
No, we got performance data from the 3 fire departments. And according to what they said, every time they were dispatched, they responded.
That's not what Rhinecliff said. We are also working with County E911 to confirm this. We want to make sure that we're paying for the service we're getting. Rhinebeck Fire Department has opened all of their books and information to us. We just have a less of a relationship with the other 2 fire departments, I think because the mayor's the commissioner over there, that we have an exceptional relationship with Rhinebeck. We want to make sure that we're getting full coverage for the money that we're paying. We want to know that they're coming out, close to 100% of the time and making their calls. So Dana Smith is looking at this too, and we can discuss it at our next meeting. Did we vote on this?
No.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. So we have a public hearing at our next meeting at 6 o'clock for the fire contracts. Resolution 2019-091, awarding bid for replacement of town hall windows. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thanks, Ed. May I have a second? Thanks, Alan. Ed, thanks for all your work on this. You want to tell us what this is? Are they,
We're going to remove the windows, insulate the windows, reglaze them, and they came in under the budget. The budget was $25,000, came in at $22,000.
and so will they strip them, or they're reglazing everything? Are they stripping the wood or not stripping the wood? And then, so we have to get them painted separately. We're going through a big town hall, big room renovation project. We're getting it painted. We have the Art of Building and their colorists graciously donating their time to work on colors, which will be shades of cream, shades of white. We're redoing the windows, the exterior doors, and next year we'll possibly look to redo the floor. So,
That's great.
yeah, we want to keep the,
That doesn't sound like very much money for those windows.
I know, it's huge.
you know, we don't want to replace them because they're historic, and the blinds that we got last year have an insulation quality. So with the heat pumps and the air conditioning, we want to keep as much historic character of the building as we
And it's
can.
going to be repainted shortly, too.
Great. Thanks for your work, Ed. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? So moved. Motion to appoint Gervin Furzolano as our labor attorney.
Make a
Want
motion.
somebody to make the motion?
Yeah,
I'll
wait.
make it.
Thanks, Alan. Second.
Second.
Thanks, Ed. We hired Jay Gervin for a labor issue with the highway department, and they automatically just sent us a contract. Do you want to appoint them as a labor attorney in case we need somebody? I'm sorry?
A specific where from that company?
It's Jay Griffin. It's like a three-person company. They're in Albany.
No,
Do we want to, or do we not want to award a contract and see?
Do we have to? And why not? Why do it?
Okay,
right.
okay, so, well, we have a motion. Should we just vote?
Okay.
All in favor? Any opposed? Nay. Okay, the motion does not carry. Whoa, we voted it down.
That never happened.
No, well, I mean, honestly, you know, if we need a labor attorney, we can go ahead and hire somebody. And I didn't know, we just got this unsolicited.
Sure.
So I'll call him up and thank him and say if we have a labor issue, we'll deal with our labor consultant and then we'll call him.
Don't call us.
Okay. Resolution 2019-093, Summer 2019 Recreation Department hires. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thanks, Alan. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Ed.
As far as I can tell, this now fills out the lineup for the summer camp and the pool. So we now have a full slate of water safety instructors, lifeguards, camp counselors, counselors in training, et cetera, et cetera.
We have a good, we have Mrs. Mazzella, Catherine Mazzella, too, formerly of the Clinton summer camp, working with us. And we have Chrissy Amy as our park and pool manager. What we've done is we've funded enough money to hire experienced people, and we're getting good experienced people. So, yeah, we have good hopes for this year. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Resolution, you voted yes, right?
Yes.
Okay. No opposed. Resolution 2019-094 for our workforce housing local law. May I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Thanks, Ed. May I have a second? I'll make a second. This is accepting the revised local law for the workforce housing. This is with the tweaking that Warren and Chauncey did with Michael, the head of the planning department, and the planning department, and our planner, Jim Levy. So we're accepting it. It's being laid on our desk, and we already have the public hearing held open for the 8th. So I expect we'll be voting on this on the 8th. All right?
Okay. So we're not going to vote today.
Well, there's a resolution to accept it, so all in favor of accepting? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. I'll do it now. Okay. Resolution 2019-095, authorizing New York State Police to access the premises located at Primrose Hill, tax grid, etc. The tax number, local tax parcel number is 593760, which is on the corner of 9G and Primrose Hill, for the purposes of performing due diligence, evaluating and testing the property to determine the property's suitability for a New York State Police barracks. May I have a motion? Thanks, Alan. May I have a second?
Second.
Thanks, Ed. Is there any discussion? Any comment from the audience?
I have a question. It's just a general question about how this works. Hi, Jeff Romano, I live on Frost Road. I had a question about how the public lands are sold off, or in this case, leased or transferred. How does that process happen?
We're going to have our attorney and their attorney take us through it. It requires an act from the New York State Legislature, so that's what we will be seeking.
So if you were, as the town board, want to go ahead, then how does the Rhinebeck residents, how do they get their voice heard?
Well, there'll be a local law process with public hearings.
Okay, so that would take quite some time.
Yeah, this resolution is giving them access for, hold on, I see we have our chiefs here. We set the public hearing for April 8th. Thank you. I'm sorry, Jeff, I lost my train of thought.
You want to know what the process.
So what's the public process
Well, it would be a
to the
local
sale
law, it
of
would
the
be a
public
local
lands?
law, so it's not a sale, it's a donation. It would be a local law process which requires public hearings.
Okay. Thank you.
All right? Sure. This is just authorizing them access to the property for doing diligence.
I don't know if,
Alienation of parkland.
right, sometimes you have to find another piece of parkland to make up for the loss of the park.
Well, this isn't parkland per se, it was given to us in lieu of a fee in 1974. We no longer accept odd little donations of land in lieu of fee. There was no intention to ever turn this into parkland.
Is it on the roll as a civic spot, or
It's
is it on
in
the
the-
roll as open
Yeah.
space?
No, it's a
on the
civic, it's a CIV zone.
Yeah. May I just say something
Yes.
regarding, because I was on the planning board, and at that time, there really was no policy established by the town in terms of how to treat the recreational component of subdivisions. And the town board at that time said, well, take the land and it's a piece of open space. And we did that for about there may be 5 or 6 pieces.
We have about 7 odd little pieces.
Scattered around.
Gores, little teeny
Yeah,
quarter acre.
and most of them don't make any sense, they're not part of any overall plan. And that actually forced us, where we went to the town board and said, this is getting to be ridiculous. Let's establish a fee schedule, which was happening throughout the state then at that
Yeah.
time, because the whole concept was new. So that's why there are pieces here and there, but you're right, it has to go through the state legislature, and I'm not sure if you have to replace a piece of farmland, open space with another piece. I'm not sure of that.
Yeah, I don't think so. There's a process for it because it's a donation for the public good.
Right,
We can't use it for parkland. It's zoned CIV,
right.
and that's what Warren and the Council for State Police are looking at. They've been through this process before, so it's been done before. The state police are making a concerted effort to build their own barracks as opposed to leasing them, which is apparently what they do mostly throughout the state. And they have now a plan, different size plans where they all look the same, so they're looking to town for donations. We believe, or I believe, I think the board all voted on this, that they're of great benefit for us here in Rhinebeck. We want continued state police presence here. so does the village. And if we didn't give them a piece of property, they'd go somewhere else. And this is a perfect location for them. But we will look at what the process is. It's a 6-acre parcel. They need, I think, a little less than 3 or 3, so the rest can have a conservation easement on it.
Is it going to go through the planning board process?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know what, Sally? Yes, I got confused. Amtrak station does not need to because they're federal and they're exempt. The state police do, and they're also going through SHPO and archaeology. So that's what this is for. They don't, it doesn't appear that they need any variances, and this is an allowed use in a CIV zone. They will go through the planning board process, absolutely. We're also working with the New York State Dormitory Authority to see, Dormitory DASNY of New York State, to see if we can't hold them to a higher standard of green building. To get geothermal and solar and pervious pavement there, since we're donating the land, and to see if we can't have a hand in how the outside looks so it blends in more to the outside. So this is very, very preliminary, but I hope that the rest of the town will get involved in weighing in on this and, help us and take a look at it with us. Sure, thank you for your institutional knowledge. I forgot you did, of course you're on the planning board. Have we voted on this? No. Yes, I got a yes and a no. I'm going to go with the clerk. Okay. I have some new business. I got a couple too. New business being that our special prosecutor is going through renegotiations with some of her other towns and with the DA. She's a special prosecutor, Carrie Yamashita, with us through an agreement with the county district attorney. And she has asked me to widen her, what she can do for us here in the local courts to include, well, she does know vehicle and traffic infractions. Environmental conservation is new in case people have any DEC issues that can be tried here, violations of town codes, violations of ag and markets, violations of New York State transportation law. That's a new one. That's like if a truck is running overweight or without registration. Violations of tax section and New York State building code violations and parking violations. So some of these duties she already has. We're adding a couple of new ones per what the DA is allowing in the county and what seems to be the trend. So I'm asking you to give me permission to sign this letter and send it to the DA for his approval to let her do this. So I guess we need a motion for a resolution from the floor, which I will make, to allow me to sign this letter asking the DA for Dutchess County to expand our special prosecutor's duties per this letter. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So moved. John, I'll give you a copy of this letter. I'll mail it out. Hold on. I don't. No, I don't. Okay. That wasn't easy? Okay, easier.
The full and day camp operations need a printer, so this is a resolution to buy a printer.
Wow.
It's the printer is $120, and they do a monthly program with HP to get ink. So the expense comes out to, for ink, around 3 cents a page.
We could bring it into the town hall.
We can bring it in later.
Great.
It's the same printer I've been using for years.
So you want to make a motion for this
So I'm going to make
resolution?
a motion for resolution 201-9097, purchase of an all-in-one inkjet printer and subscription for ink supplies for use in the operations of the town pool and day camp.
I'll second it. Oh, I'll give it to Ed. Wow. Okay, I guess we're, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved.
Got another one. This one's a little harder. Here's the other one. The background on this is that behind this curtain are is a bank of servers that provide IT support for both the town and the village. The 3 servers that are there are now obsolete. The warranties have run out. They're
I
difficult.
can't believe it's been that long
It
ago.
has.
Yeah.
Time
Seemed like
flies.
just a minute ago, we got this, right?
The,
No, we got the grant in 2000.
It took a long
12
time
or
to get it
13,
in,
yeah.
it took a long time to get it operational. But the servers are obsolete in the sense that they're no longer in warranty and they're no longer easy to get parts for. So if there were a failure, we would be in deep trouble. Also, a lot of the software is now unsupported, and in fact, the operating systems that they use will no longer be supported by the end of the year. So what this resolution is to replace the 3 physical servers with 1. The new servers that are available are much higher performance, and so one machine can take the place of 3. So that's the good news. The bad news is it's expensive.
3 times as much.
What else is there? The numbers in this resolution are quite right. The hardware upgrade.
Did we make a motion in a second for this?
No. I
You
just-
have the motion. Who seconded
I'll-
this? You did, I'll second
All
it.
right, good.
Or did you? All right, yeah, sorry. Okay.
Sorry.
Well, it's fine. Just gotta have it on the floor before we can talk about it.
Okay. So, in any case, the PCA who will be providing the installation, so the installation will be done over a weekend or at night. There will be no disruption, at least that's the plan, of town hall services. The upgrade is going to cost $16,000, which will be shared with the village, so the town share is $10,667 and the village share is $5,333. In addition, however, there's a $2,200 charge, which I didn't include in this, for software that has to be upgraded to support the thin clients we have all over the town.
Did the village share that as well?
No.
Because they don't have
They
thin
don't have
clients.
them, so basically our share is $12,867. So that's the amount we need to authorize.
That's fine, and I talked to the mayor today, and he said that he has it in his budget, which should be passed
Yeah.
next week. So, I mean, we don't have to make it contingent on them passing their budget, because we're approving our part, and if they don't approve their part, we'll have to refigure this out.
Right, okay. So-
Okay.
So I move that we modify this to change the town number to 12,000, let's call it no more than 13,000. And that we eliminate the sentence that says.
I would go up a little bit, because that's right on the edge, not to exceed 14,000.
All right. I'm going to hold to 12,867.
Doesn't go out to bid?
No, this is a professional service.
Okay, so if it comes in like $1 over that, we can't approve it,
Well, have it as,
not to exceed 14,000.
yeah, 14. No, but I'm gonna make sure they come in at their bid.
Okay,
You know the longevity of these servers?
4 or 5 years?
We're at the mercy of the software and hardware manufacturers, Dell and Microsoft, unfortunately.
Well, it works really well, because,
It's worked fine so far. We haven't had any real catastrophic failure. The good thing is that 3 servers fail 3 times as much as 1 server. And now we have 1. Yes, sir.
Alan, can you get anything for the 3 servers, or will you give?
That's a good question. I don't know.
in any case, we have a town board motion to
Yeah,
dispose
we'll have a
of them.
motion to sell them. They're, I don't know what the market is for obsolete. So,
You never know.
that's right. I mean,
Hot.
I use a
You get
laptop.
something, you get something
I
better.
use a laptop that's 6 years old, so.
Put them on eBay.
All right,
So we're going to vote now.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So
Okay, so we
moved.
just approved the change, right?
I think we approved the whole thing.
Very good, okay.
It was
Thank
a
you.
motion from the floor, so. We all have our county legislator here, but before that, we have a discussion for the wireless edge proposal for the cell tower just feet from our new pavilion, which was not our idea. That came to us unsolicited, and I wrote about it in my newsletter, and boy, did I get a lot of comments about that. So we also referred it to the park committee, but are we going to do anything with this, or
No,
we just?
move out of that area, move to something else.
It doesn't seem to be quite appropriate to put a 150-foot monopole, 20 or 30 feet from our new pavilion in our beautiful park.
Well, not only does it make sense, but whether it's allowed even or not is a question, and because of easements. But also, 5G's coming along, and this is not going to work for 5G.
No, that's.
Why
that's-
won't it work
no,
for
that does
5G?
work. They make the facility ready, 5G ready, where they promote.
How is 5G different from,
It's faster.
no, what, I
It's two more than 3G, no.
know, what is the difference in the pole for 5G? I
They're
thought
lower.
that they were
They're
lower.
much lower, and they're much higher frequency, and the
The only
distance.
problem is they cover a shorter distance.
So why would we want a 150-foot monopole for 5G if we don't need one? I mean, if they go down to 75 feet or something, it'll be a
No,
lot.
They don't cover, you have to.
No, it's not 75 feet. They're talking about using the tops on telephone poles.
Okay, so why, so monopoles will be obsolete,
Yes.
so we don't need them.
So what my thought is, and I almost said position, and I think it is my position, is we ought to get somebody to tell us what it's going to look like in 5 years or 10 years
Well-
when we get to 5G, and then look at that and head to that rather than do
How
this
about
thing.
this? How about our coverage is just fine, everybody muddles through, it's good to have a little, not be able to get in touch with people sometime, and 5G's coming.
Really.
Sorry, I couldn't get your call, I was out of,
What about the feasibility of state trooper barracks?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said, let's have a plan for the whole town that says, here's where we're going to put the 5G.
I'm already getting letters from people saying that it causes cancer.
No, that's not true.
I mean,
You've got-
I know,
You've got proof of
just-
it, it's not true.
I'm just,
What if you're catering?
some people who don't want
Okay, so,
vaccines.
so if you're concerned about that, you should go. to the-
I am not.
No, if one is concerned about that, you should go to the American Cancer
Right.
Society's website and look up radiation from cell towers.
Right, it's almost
The
negative.
most dangerous part of a cell phone is when you put it up next to your ear,
That's it.
and that's 100 times stronger than the signal you're
Okay.
getting
Cell
back.
tower.
So let's just say, hold on here, that we are not in favor of this, and this is not going anywhere.
Well, not in favor of it there.
I don't think I'm in favor of monopoles if
Let's see.
monopoles are becoming
I
obsolete.
don't see why they're absolute. What do you
Because
say?
hold on, we'll get to
I
it.
bet you.
If 5G is coming and they can be mounted on phone poles, why would we want monopoles?
Oh, where did you hear that?
Well, that's what people are
That's not true.
saying.
I agree with that.
Okay, well, anyway, we're not experts, so Jeff, you had a comment.
Jeff told you that.
Jeff, why did you say that about 5G?
Ed, on the question of the poles,
Yeah.
if the poles are there, they would use them, but if the poles are not there, they wouldn't build them for 5G. So I had a long discussion with the owner of the company, Wireless Edge,
Yeah.
and I posed that question to him. And he said, yeah, if they're there, they'll use them. I said, but if they weren't there and you were building for 5G, would you put a monopole up of 150 or 75? And he said, no, probably not. And he said, it all comes down to the carriers. So he's speculating the carriers may need this kind of array, but he doesn't know. So he puts this array together and then tries to find somebody to buy the array from him, which is problematic in itself. So he's assuming that we need, like Elizabeth said, that we need faster downloads for
Well,
Netflix.
no, it's only set up when 5G comes, but right now we're still on 4G.
Ed, we're talking about, do we even need monopoles in the future? This is a
Yeah.
separate issue. We're
Right.
not in favor of it going in our park.
Right.
It's our land and we're
that's-
saying no.
And
Yeah,
I-
as long as the discussion came up of the future, the monopoles would not be needed in order to display
Well,
the...
we can't control that, that's a federal act of 1996.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've been through that.
It would be nice to
It
have
still goes
somebody.
through planning, it's still got to figure out where they go and how they go.
That's the
But
plan.
it's not the speculators, which this gentleman is, it's the cell service providers who really set out a master plan, and when these guys try to maybe sell it to them, sometimes they just boot it out and say, no, we have our own plan, so we're doing all this for nothing.
It'd be nice to have an independent consultant come in and explain to us what the future's going to look like.
Yeah, exactly. What a master plan of the 5G
Exactly.
distribution network would be. It's a utility, so we want to know where the utilities are going to go.
Yes.
Thanks. So, in Park Committee, thank you for your thoughtful,
Can I make a comment?
yes,
Yes.
please.
I'm Sarah Olson, I'm the interim director for the Winnicke Wetland Trust, and I just want to point out that Winnicke does hold a conservation easement on the rec park, and any plan to build anything would require approval through the land trust, and we would not support
I've
such
taken that
a,
that
such a
approval
thing.
would not be forthcoming.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Okay,
So
so
you're making a decision on the park or on all?
somebody came to us and asked us if we would be interested in putting up a 150-foot monopole in our park, and we said no. We're saying no. But we're not making a decision about anything else because we don't
No, just-
own, it's not going on town land.
And there was never a resolution.
No, this is a discussion.
Just discussion.
Talk, talk.
Wireless Edge came to us unsolicited and said, could we put a pole up here? And we referred it to you, and none of us are really for it, so Winnicke wouldn't
Well,
approve an
what it
easement.
really came down to is we have a lot of coverage, non-coverage in areas east and south of Rhinebeck. He made a list of various areas the town owns that would be used for cell towers to cover people like on White Schoolhouse Road and Hilltop Road have no service whatsoever. And these are people that are 93 years old.
But he
and
said
they
that this is,
fall.
wait, Ed, he said that this is the only town piece that was feasible for him, and the rest had to go on private. This is the only town parcel that he looked
I
at where
didn't
he,
see that.
yes. In
Yes.
our presentation, he said this is the only piece we
He
have
told me that.
that he's interested in.
You told me that?
So the rest will go on private property, he'll try and sell it on private property.
He
This is
said the others wouldn't, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to, just,
No, I
let's keep
understand,
it.
but he did talk to me and say he's interested in state trooper barracks down there, so why would he say that?
In our presentation at the
Okay.
last town board
Okay.
meeting, what he told us was this is the only piece of town property that would work for his plan.
All right.
So whatever people do on their private property is between the planning board and site approval, it's within our code already. So we're not interested in building a cell tower on our park. So-
Just to let you know that the park committees, everybody in the park committee is totally.
Yes, I
Yes,
know,
right.
as are we.
That's right.
Okay,
That's right. And they were upset that this guy didn't come to the park committee first.
oh well.
Anyway, water under the dam.
Thank you, though. Is there anything else?
Yeah?
Yes.
You had
Go
something
ahead.
at the end.
You go ahead, I'll tell
It's
my
just
story.
that we budgeted money for tennis nets and wind screens, around $2,000 worth. And Bob Myerson from Rhinebeck Tennis Club has graciously given us brand new wind screens practically and tennis nets, saving us a lot of money.
How come?
He's got all new equipment, so
Oh.
he's giving it to us.
Great, that's lovely.
Just wanted to say thanks.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you for coming,
Yeah,
sir.
thanks.
Okay, so I just wanted to talk about a program that the county sheriff used to run.
We have our county legislator here.
Yeah,
No,
well,
but let Alan, please.
we've been communicating about it. A friend of mine fell in the bathroom, elderly lady, and she was on the floor the next morning. She couldn't get up, couldn't get to the phone.
In Rhinebeck.
In Rhinebeck. And what happened was, she was in a program called Are You Okay?, which the sheriff has been running. It's been around for years. And what happened was, that program calls people every morning or every day at a certain time that the person has set up. If the phone is not answered, there's a call back. If the phone's not answered a second time, they'll call a neighbor or a designated assistant. If they don't answer, they send the county sheriff. County sheriff deputy came, saw she was on the floor, she'd been there for like 10 hours, called 911. Actually, Hillside responded and took my friend to the hospital, saving her life in my opinion. The other day I'm listening to WAMC and one of the news items was the sheriff of Dutchess County has discontinued this program.
Why?
Well, I'll tell you why. The excuse that so I called the sheriff's office, couldn't get through to anybody that knew anything. They referred me to the Office for the Aging. So I wound up talking to Todd
Tancredi, the director.
Tancredi, the director of the Office for the Aging. He said that the sheriff's department said that the reason they stopped it was the software they've been using no longer ran on their new equipment, number one. I'll talk more about that because software is my field. And the second thing is there were too few people. Turns out there were 23 people on the program, which is surprising me because there's not a word about this program.
I didn't know about it. We have one of the fastest growing elderly populations here in Rhinebeck. We can promote it through Rhinebeck at Home.
Yeah, there's not a word about it on the county website anywhere, except I found one mention of it in 2011 where they congratulated the sheriff for having the program. Okay, the 23 names were given to the Office for the Aging and the numbers, and they called the numbers to tell people the program was being discontinued. When they got that, several of the numbers, I think 2 or 3, were non-working numbers. So the software that the sheriff was using couldn't recognize the weird tone that sounds when you call a non-working number and thought it was somebody answering. Okay, so then I got on a website, on the internet, and I Googled, this kind of service. One of the places that does it is Lincoln, North Carolina. So I called Lincoln, North Carolina, and I got a hold of the dispatcher. They have the same program. They have much better software. And their county has about the same number of people on it, and they use it a lot, and they love it. I called the company that supplied their software, and they claim they're being used in literally dozens of counties in this country. Their software requires you to press 1 if you're alive and 2 if you're not. Excuse me. 1 if you're okay and 2 if you're not. So it would not be fooled by a disconnected number. And it costs, if you do it on a per person basis, they charge $10 a line per month, but they also sell their software, they support their software. I mean, it's a regular software company. So my opinion is that this is a life-saving program. It's worth the money, and we ought to get it reinstated.
Should we write a letter and put it on our agenda?
Yeah,
I would. I don't know whether our county legislator.
You also have an active committee in the community.
Yeah.
We don't have a committee. We have Rhinebeck at Home is very active.
I called Rhinebeck at Home, by the way, so they know what's going on. I copied them.
Oh, so were they aware of it before?
They weren't aware of the program?
Yeah. It's not,
What are there, like 150, 200 members in Rhinebeck at Home? Yeah.
I can't remember her name.
Nina or Ann?
Ann said that she's going to get word out to 150 members. My request is that if you hear me speaking and you like this program, call the sheriff's office, call the Office for the Aging and get it.
Let's put together a letter and a resolution, and we'll pass it at our next meeting. And we'll reach out to the, Rhinebeck at Home and get them to support it and say, we want to continue this.
It's ridiculous. I mean, the fact that there were non-working numbers that they considered to be active is crazy.
The fact that we didn't know about this program and we couldn't publicize it is also.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Alan, it sounds like the only difference that the sheriff's software needs is an upgrade.
Or shift to a different set of software. The company that does this for the county I spoke to has 4 different options. You can do it on a per person per month, you can do it on a county-wide basis, and it's a lower fee.
We want to petition the county to keep it and let them figure out how to do it.
They'll sell you the software for $8,000 a year or something like that. You know, there are a million options. Nobody even looked at them. And can you tell I'm upset?
Yes. All right, well, thanks for doing that. Did you have something else?
No, that's it.
Did you have anything
No,
else?
that's it.
We have our county legislator here, Brennan Carney. Do you have something else?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get you, well,
You go
Brennan,
first.
you go first. And then-
Oh, all right, excuse me. Hey, folks.
All right.
Hi.
Very nice to be here at my first meeting because these meetings conflict with legislative session almost all the time, apparently. But I'm communicating with everybody by email, so. And Alan, I had also reached out to the Sheriff's Department today. I haven't heard back. I will stay on top of it because it sounds like, one, we need to make sure that the program continues, but two, that it's something that communities, not just Rhinebeck, but other communities as well know about. Because this is clearly a county service that was being provided that we clearly would have appreciated in this community. I'm sure Clinton feels the same way, but I'm sure there are, a million communities in Dutchess that needed that. So let's stay in touch and we'll
Sure.
figure it out.
You and I can keep the pressure on.
I'm gonna
Yes.
call Todd tomorrow too.
Yeah, I reached out to Todd too, so I haven't heard back from him yet either. But I know Alan has
I
spoken
talked
with
to him
him.
today.
Well, I won't speculate, but anyway.
He's upset that the program was terminated.
I'm sure he is. I mean, he's an advocate for the elderly, so, it's a pretty important one.
So I already wrote letters to, I called the Poughkeepsie Journal, Bill, sorry. And well, this is, a story has a happy ending. I called the Poughkeepsie Journal, they were not interested.
They were not interested.
That's correct. I talked to a reporter at the Poughkeepsie Journal. Poughkeepsie Journal no longer accepts letters to the editor, and so they don't want that either, so I think I'm going to cancel my subscription.
That's really
And
disappointing.
I wrote a letter to the editor of Freeman, by the way, and I have an email for you, for the Freeman.
Well, and then Alan, I'd like to make sure that I distribute whatever
Sure.
you've done on my Facebook page, because that's a way that people are learning to look for information
Good, I'll send you.
at the county level. Yeah, that'd be great. Good. Well, this isn't as exciting as Alan's research. So I'm going to give you a little county-wide update, pretty short. The county recently acquired Lake Walton in East Fishkill, or will be acquiring, voted to acquire it from Scenic Hudson. That'll be another passive county park, and it'll also be adjacent to the rail trail. So hopefully some of us in Rhinebeck get down there, maybe on our bikes. We also, at the last session, approved 12-year term limits for all legislators, the comptroller, and the county executive. We also had a healthy revision of a new proposed code of ethics, and we expect that to pass at our next session. But what I'm working on a more local Rhinebeck level is that Elizabeth had passed along to me several complaints from residents about county roads, and we all know how important roads are to all of us. And this actually goes back to Alan. Well, one of the roads, well, your favorite Mill Road is deteriorating. It has untimely snow removal. There's been mailbox damage there, and you reached out.
No, the mailbox.
Oh, the mailbox damage was the River Road?
The untimely snow removal, we've had a lot of complaints all
Yeah.
winter
And
long about
unpaved sections since the 90s.
Right, and that's what, you wrote a letter almost 6 months ago
Yes.
that came back to us, and we sort of, it was not undecipherable, but
No,
it didn't answer the question.
I went down to the county
Yep.
Department of Public Works, and I looked through all their material.
Yeah.
Well, you did do that.
I did do that, and they gave me, the frequency of use, or something like
Yep.
average of 400 cars a day go by.
That's a lot.
Which seems like a lot. And the commissioner claims they spend less than $5,000 a year maintaining it, which seems
Not that much.
Maybe that's part
Which
of
seems not that much, and also seems very light, given that every time it rains, they gotta
it.
fix
It's
the
washed,
pothole.
right.
Is this the piece going down where Linwood?
Yeah, it goes
Yes.
by Linwood, yeah.
We've petitioned them to engineer it, and so that it doesn't get washed out.
And their response was also that it would cost like
$1
$1
million.
million, right? Did you get them to break it down? Did they?
No, I know what, the reason is that they need either to take land from the Sisters of St. Ursula,
Which they've offered to do.
which the sisters have offered to give to the county. It's just straighten the road out.
Right.
Because uphill from the road, it's stable. The other problem is that one of the engineers thought that the reason it kept moving, that's the reason they don't pave it, is because the road keeps falling, is because the road is so heavy. So they were going to excavate it and put lighter material.
So many surfaces on it at this?
No, they've been piling sand
Okay.
and gravel on top of, you know, layer, and it's heavy stuff. So that one of the engineers suggested that they take all that away and put in, I think he said
Styrofoam?
No kidding.
Okay, I bet that
And
is
then
a joke.
another, I mean, so they have to make up their mind what to do.
Sure.
And then do a real cost estimate, and then tell us what they're gonna do. I mean, never is not an acceptable answer.
No,
What
and-
we want to do is just keep pressure on them, they've got to fix the
Yep.
road.
No,
It's
so
not
that will now be
unacceptable
one of
to
my
have a road like
priorities
that.
for the community is to do that. And then also to look at the River Road issue and the Slate Quarry safety concerns, which Joel was working
Well,
on.
no, we worked on that with the county,
Yeah.
Kathy Kinsella and I, and we got the signage and the traffic calming, and they repaved it. The percentage of fatalities has gone way down, but it's still a problematic
Yeah,
road.
no, I'm still hearing from people that they're worried about it.
Okay.
So anyways,
It's a lot better to travel,
Yeah,
but it's
But it's still
not
not
a
great.
good
it is, and those signs are definitely helpful, at least I know as a user of Slate Quarry, but it's still a problematic
We should
spot.
put a skull and crossbones.
User road.
So
So
I've been
they'll,
driving that road since I've been 17, that's not a problem.
What
you are lucky you're still here. No. It's a scary road. So anyway, that's my update.
How's it going down there? Do you like, we miss you.
I miss being here. It's going really well. Everybody has been enormously helpful. I've got my feet on the ground. I'm getting involved in things sort of, outside just the day-to-day. I will say, the one last interesting thing I'm working on, I'm working with a group of colleagues to propose a permanent hazardous waste pickup location in Poughkeepsie that would be open on a regular basis. So instead of all of us having to make the
Store
appointments or, wait for these days, it would make use of, the proposal would be to use one of the unused county buildings down there. And it might not be open 5 days a week, but I figure we got 3 days a week or even
1 day a
two.
week.
Right, it does, right. One way or another, it would be an enormous improvement for, the environment in Dutchess County. Ulster County's already doing it. I believe Sullivan County has an active program. So anyway, we're working on that. So the next time I get to attend, I will give you some more updates.
Well, I gotta say, it's a pleasure having you on the other end of the email and the phone when there are county issues now.
Thank you for
Glad to
saying
have
that. I am
some,
very pleased to be
Somebody
Rhinebeck's
directed to
advocate.
help us solve problems.
I'm happy to be doing it.
Thank you. Anything else from anybody? Any other comments or public? Bob?
Yep. Just one thing, on May 18th, we're going to have the grand opening of the pavilion at the park. So we're going to have a celebration on that day.
We didn't know about that.
I just told you right now.
Okay. Are we christening it, or what are we doing?
ribbon cutting.
Ribbon cutting. I'd like to talk to you about that, because I have some ideas for it. So we'll talk before then. My ideas are, instead of politicians, I'd like to thank you guys, and I'd like to thank our staff who work so hard to make this happen. That's my thought. Instead of having it be a photo op for state and county reps, I'd like it to be a thank you for all the people who worked so hard to make it happen. Because I really believe it's a community effort, and it's beautiful down there, and you guys stuck with it. So that's my thought for this.
I'd like to see it as a community event. I think
Yes.
Music and entertainment and bring the children out.
Great.
And really do something.
Great. So let's talk and we'll figure that out. I would love it, you know, it's a beautiful space and we look forward to using it, so glad we're there.
Oh, I know. Can I say one last thing?
Sure.
Well, since this is on Panda and some people may hear us, I spoke very briefly with Elizabeth about this, but I am trying, and I'm not sure I will make the deadline of Memorial Day, but I would like to put together a program to identify and honor women veterans in our community. You know, there've been a lot on the news lately. We had a service member who we lost in Dutchess County in recent months, a female service member. And so I would love to put a call out to the public for anyone who can help me identify female veterans. And that could be as far back, you know, as we can go, and to all types of women's service. If anyone knows of someone, has a relative, is a service member, please contact me. My email is bkearney@dutchessny.gov. And I would love to have those names and that help. Thanks.
Thank you.
Army, Ruby, Manor Road,
Sorry, let's, yeah.
Okay, hold it.
Is there anything else
Right
from
into that.
anybody or any other public comment, questions? Hearing none, I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Is there a second from the board?
Second.
All in favor? Thanks. Good night, everybody.
Anyone else?
Just throwing that